Alright, Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Strikers 1945 Free Part 2. So, this looks familiar. Yeah, it does look familiar. We're playing the same game again. This time, you notice the top is a 2. It says 2-1. Yeah, we're going for the game the second time around where things are going to get much more challenging. This game wasn't brutal enough as is. This game's going to get even more brutal. There's going to be even more enemies, even more things are going to shoot at you. They're going to launch them with stuff. They're going to become much stronger. They obviously increase their supply quality lines, so now their enemies takes a lot more hits to destroy them, and our ship is pretty much exactly the same as this, so they're obviously outmatched for us. But thankfully, someone gave me a large grant of pretty much an infinite amount of Sacagaweas, since no one seems to like those Sacagaweas anymore, so they let me have all of them, so I could continue playing this game and actually beat it on hard mode, so you guys can see me epically fail at this game on pretty much the hardest difficulty of the game. But, like I said, now we have an unlimited supply of Sacagaweas. This isn't going to be too hard. I mean, it's hard. It's going to be a challenge, of course, but this is still way easier than Gekiou Shooting King. It's still way easier than those other games that are like I saw this game a long time ago for the GameCube where it's like you have to dodge the bullets, and then you can have like a really thin, like if you make one mistake, it's like game over kind of thing. Kind of like in Space Ace almost, where it's like where you have to you have to like do everything accordingly. You have to choreograph everything and work everything according to the game's choreography, otherwise it's game over pretty much. This game does have stuff like that, but not to that extreme extent. And so it's the same bosses again as before. Fighting this boss, if you remember from the first time around, this boss looks like a giant crab thing, this robot crab flying around. He's stronger this time around. He likes to spam his weapons a lot more, and he has some new weapon he didn't use before either, where he shoots at some blue orb or something like that. I don't know how that works exactly. He's a lot more powerful than he was the first time around. He is a major threat to us, but it's nothing that a couple more Sacagaweas wouldn't fix. He's already red and flashing. We already got him into critical state. Then it's like dodging back and forth, flying back and forth, and there, I think we destroyed him. You see, kids these days should play more games like these, because these games actually are challenges, and yet these kids complain about Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto being a big challenge. They've clearly never played stuff like this before if they think games like that are challenges. And the reason why I could beat this game is thanks to my infinite supply of Sacagaweas. There's a lot of games out there I've never beaten before. Like, I've never beat the original Rayman before, because Rayman is, you have to collect absolutely everything in the game. I'm highly opposed to cheating. So, because of that, I've played the game a lot, but I never actually beat the original Rayman for that reason. I've still never beat Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie before either. And that's because those games, never beaten those games before. That's why I've never done Let's Plays those games. I've gotten requests to do those Let's Plays before, but I haven't Let's Play those games before, but I haven't done those yet. Because I just said I'd never beaten those games before, and I like to do Let's Plays of games I've beaten before, games I'm familiar with, and yeah, sure, I'm familiar with some parts of those games, but I haven't been playing those games that often. I haven't been playing those games as much because I'm busy with a lot of other games and stuff like that, but I like to think I'll Let's Play that eventually. I'll probably be Let's Playing Ape Escape 3 sooner than I originally thought. I recently did a Let's Play of Ape Escape 2, and now I'm going to be doing Ape Escape 3 soon, and complete the Ape Escape trilogy. I do plan on doing Let's Plays of the Spyro trilogy eventually, and I might even do Let's Plays of the Crash Bandicoot games eventually too, if I could actually beat those or get those 100% complete on camera. So, yeah, I still have a long list of games I want to Let's Play. And it all begins with, or right now, it's currently going on, the obligation I have to be playing through Strikers 1945 free again. Because, the third parts of trilogies are always obligations. It's always, you've played for the first two parts, you might as well play for the third part, and finally get this over with, which is exactly what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to get this over with, finally, and finally take on this incredible challenge and prove to the world that I have some skill at gaming, to prove to the world that I know stuff about video games, or that I know stuff about dodging bullets, or flying through these intricate like maze of bullets that they pretty much launch us, which is even worse now because it's a hard mode of the game. It's going to be spamming the machine gun. It's like a machine gun where you keep spamming it around. It's becoming harder and harder to dodge stuff. The speed's a lot faster too. The game plays much faster speed, yet oddly enough, it takes a lot longer to get through this game. Not really longer, but it does take longer the second time around. Maybe because the enemies are stronger the second time around, so it takes a lot more hits to destroy them. Yet these helicopters still seem to go down in one hit, so that's good for us. On their part, they probably had some helicopters left over from the first half of the game. Theirs were pathetically weak. So now they're just going to send them here. They're just going to get shot down by us. And we're still using some standard enemies we've seen in the first two games, like the tanks. We've seen tanks and turrets and things like that in the first two games as well, too. And look at that. It's like, how am I supposed to dodge this? There's no way no person could realistically dodge that. I wonder if it's possible to program a computer AI to play a game like this. There's actually a computer virus I came across once, where the only way I think it was ransomware or something like that, and the only way to get through the game is to play, I mean, it's a game. The virus is a game bridge. The only way to recover your files so they won't get destroyed is if you play a game that's similar to this and don't get killed, then you have to win pretty much at the game. That's how you undo the ransomware virus or whatever it was. I remember seeing like Dan October 1st, that guy who makes all those virus videos. I remember seeing him go through that. He couldn't get through the game because he's just not that great. He's not that powerful a game. Yeah, I'm like that too. I would need a lot of Sacagaweas, but it's on a PC. It's a virus on a PC. So yeah, so putting more Sacagaweas into your PC isn't really going to help something like that. Or quarters or whatever it was way back then. Or even tokens. A lot of places like to use tokens. I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is famous for using the tokens. Because, you know, great, everyone loves Chuck E. Cheese. I actually don't like Chuck E. Cheese that much. I've only been there twice myself, and both times I went, it wasn't that great. Chuck E. Cheese is a highly overrated place. I never really liked Chuck E. Cheese that much. They're disappearing a lot too. Their pizza is recycled and stuff like that, so the pizza's not good quality. I always knew they recycled their pizza. The pizza sucks. It just tastes like cardboard with glue on it. I made a whole video like 3 years ago where I talked about how Chuck E. Cheese is kind of a scam. I did it while I was playing the Atari 2600 version of Ms. Pac-Man. I figured I played Pac-Man games and Ms. Pac-Man way so many times before. What more do I have to talk about? I'll just play the game while I talk about what I think of modern Chuck E. Cheese is. That's exactly what I think of Chuck E. Cheese. I bet Chuck E. Cheese probably was better in the 80s or 90s or so. I wish I could go to an 80s or 90s Chuck E. Cheese's sometimes. I love the 80s and the 90s. I wish I could go back to those decades sometimes and play through games in those decades, but that's impossible. So I kind of, I never really tried to get something that's impossible. I never try to settle on things that are deemed impossible or things that, I'll probably never be able to realistically achieve. But beating this game is a realistic achievement simply because I have an infinite amount of Sacagaweas. This is why I should save up Sacagaweas. So if terrorists ever take over the world, it might make you have to play their games that are powered by Sacagaweas. That's actually, it's actually a good reason now to collect Sacagaweas. I bet the Sacagawea demand is going to increase by, I don't know, maybe 0.000000001% of how much it was before. So yeah, I guess that could work then. And so we're going to get this train boss again. These train turrets again. These futuristic. Those don't even look like train tracks. It's probably some futuristic rail system they use in the future. Because 1999 is the future to the people. Well, to us, I imagine it would be a future, considering the fact that 1945 is already overly futuristic. And they had the same kind of stuff in 1945. I'm just spamming whatever nukes I get. It'd be cool if you could buy more nukes. I know in the mobile version, the version I have on Android, you can actually pay, like in the game, you can buy actual nukes that could help increase. Well, you can actually buy more nukes as you're playing the game, so you have to game over to get more nukes. But we know how stuff like that turns out. Remember when Francis spent like over $300 something on Candy Crush, and he couldn't beat the levels. He had to pay stuff and buy stuff in the game to beat the level. Yeah, I don't want to fall for that. I don't have to destroy my piggy bank over that, or have to sell my stuff or sell my house just so I can win Candy Crush. I wonder how Candy Crush is doing these days. I've never heard anyone talk about Candy Crush in years. Is it still a thing? Is it still around? I don't know. I think I saw it on the what's it called? The Google Play Store on the Android phone. I think I saw it there when I was looking for games like Google Play when I got my new Samsung Galaxy A53. But I didn't want to buy it because I know it's a game that could cost me to lose my house. I don't like playing games that cause people to lose their houses. Since when have video games ever cause people to lose their houses? That's a pretty bad game if it makes people lose their house. Sure, AVGN complains about some of the worst video games ever made, like those crappy games in the NES. It's like, yeah, this game is crap because it does this and this and this. But it never considers the fact that, well, at least it doesn't make me lose my house or something like that. Sure, it might make you lose your sanity, but losing your house is pretty bad too. Or you have to sell all your stuff. At least no game the AVGN reviewed has ever done that before. Those crappy games don't do it. But again, some crappy games break down a lot. Like there's the Atari Jaguar CD thing. It looks like a toilet, and you never got that to work either because, well, it's the Atari Jaguar CD. It's clearly made out of paper mache or probably made out of potatoes or something like that, which is why it crashes a lot. Then one person accused the GameCube once of being kind of like that because he kept getting an error as occurred every 2 seconds of playing the game. I used to get that a lot when I played GameCube sometimes. An error has occurred. Please consult your GameCube's instruction manual. But thankfully, that never seems to happen when I play GameCube games on emulators, which is more the reason for me to want to play them on emulators these days. And my this HP PC I have is pretty good at emulating GameCube overall. I'm still waiting for the next Raspberry Pis, which I think could be really good at emulating GameCube. And so we're getting more into the climax of the game getting stretched. Remember these things, these missile things? Yeah, they're a lot stronger now. They're made out of titanium before. Now it's like they're made out of uranium or some really strong substance. They're probably even made out of an even stronger substance than they were before because, well, now everything's stronger and much harder and more. They shoot more bullets now and everything, which makes the game way harder than it was before. If you haven't figured it out by now, which is why this is the hard mode of the game. And so just taking advantage of all the nukes I have, it looks like a space shuttle we're shooting against. You're saying that's a space shuttle. Yeah, space shuttles are really high-tech in 1999. Even though they were 18 years old, or 18 years since their first flight in that year, and they're still considered to be pretty high-tech. The space shuttle lasted quite a long time, actually, despite the fact it was dangerous and flawed right from the beginning. But then again, there's so many things we use that are dangerous and flawed, kind of like automobiles. We still use automobiles, even though those are dangerous and flawed. I mean, that's part of the reason why I never got a car. I probably never will own a car for as long as I live. For that reason, because of how dangerous and flawed they are. Same with airplanes. Airplanes have flaws too. They could crash, they could fail, and yet we still use them to this day. Even toasters, or what else? There's ovens, some kinds of computers. Heck, there's so many things that we know are likely to fail, but despite that, it doesn't seem to stop us from wanting to use them. I only use my computer pretty much all day, every day, simply because I'm kind of forced to. It's what I'm expected to use in today's world if I want to get anything done, anything realistically done. That's what everyone in the modern developed world is expected to use. So now you see this boss split up into two robot things, which only had one before, but now it has two right now, which is different this time around. We're getting closer and closer to the moon again. Yeah, we're going to the moon. We've been to the moon so many times. These planes must be really that high-tech if they can fly to the moon or zip over to the moon in a matter of minutes like that or a matter of seconds like that. I bet NASA would kill for technology like that. I bet if going to the moon is as easy as that, we would have cities and colonies and towns and things like that on the moon by now, but we don't. And that's exactly why. Because it would probably get taken over by terrorists. Then, yeah, I guess that makes sense at that point. Terrorists would somehow come across this slipstream technology and send things far into space, or attack us from far into space, or retreat into deep space where we can't get to them, or something that would make us lost in space, or something like that. They're going for what's clear the slipstream. We're going across these scorpion scarab things again. They're flying through. They're shooting even more bullets. I guess this is the prime definition of what a bullet hell shooter. I think this is exactly what they mean by bullet hell now that I come to think of it. And it still resets our score down to 0 every time we continue, so we're going to end up with an even lower score before. If you thought 0 was a pretty low score from the first half of the game, we're getting an even lower score this time around. Yeah, I wonder how you get a score less than 0, a negative score. Pretty good. I actually have seen some games that have like negative scores before from keep continuing. It's like the game it's like paying money to continue playing the game isn't enough, so it does other things to humiliate you, to want you to stop. It sounds like it's discouraging you from playing the game. That's not as bullcrap still as that Star Wars Battle Pod game I heard of, or it makes you pay money if you want to continue playing the game. What kind of arcade game makes you keep paying money if you want to keep playing the game because you keep winning? That's like punishing someone for winning. That doesn't make any sense at all, but apparently a lot of new arcade games are like that to some extent. They want you to keep putting money in them if you want to continue playing the game, but I wouldn't know. I don't play modern arcade games anymore. I don't even go to the movie theater anymore. The only real arcade I know that has modern games nearby me is probably the one at the movie theater, and I never go to the movie theater anymore. I don't go to movie theaters at all much anymore, really. I prefer watching movies in the comfort of my own home. If everyone thought according to me, movie theaters would be a thing of the past, and arcades would still be alive and well. Unfortunately, we live in an alternate universe where it's the exact opposite of that. I bet there are universes somewhere out there that probably are like that, where arcades are still just as popular as ever, and movie theaters are a thing of the past. And so now we're at the final level now where these new enemies come up, which are pretty much indestructible. They're probably made out of like the most indestructible. What is the most indestructible material known to man? I don't know. I'm not an expert on materials. I never have been an expert on materials. I just have to keep pounding them with my weapons and using my nukes and stuff like that. And even then, it still doesn't really destroy them because they're less. Like even the small minor enemies still take a lot of hits to kill, and they constantly launch bullets. And since this game is bullet hell, the video game, this is the prime definition of what a bullet hell game is. I wonder if anyone's ever beaten. I bet people people have beaten this game before without getting killed once. That's a big challenge for a lot of people. I mean for me it is. But I bet someone has. If someone could play Pac-Man, a perfect game of Pac-Man, for 6 hours on end, then why not this, right? But someone has done that before. They probably spend their whole lives playing this game, as I said before. They probably have the arms of a surgeon as well, too. I bet they probably could qualify to be a surgeon. They could qualify to be in the Guinness Book of World Records or something like that. But no, Zone never made a successful living just by playing classic games and beating them with incredible accuracy. I don't know if that's a real job anyone could realistically get. So it's the final boss here again. He looks just like how he's always has before. He looks the same. Just to keep shooting him until his spiky ball sack pops out, which is probably you can see. Look at that. He keeps throwing stuff at us, and yet we keep somehow managing to dodge it. Come on, this is supposed to be hard mode. Give me something that's actually hard. I mean, that's not really much different than it was before. But still, give us something. Come on, it's hard mode. I want to see this thing explode on the screen like larger, so that way it could so there's no place for us to realistically go to, so we get killed instantly. Look, his spiky ball sack is exposed now. I just keep shooting. It almost looks a bit like a Teever ball, almost. I just threw in Teever balls. I mean, not that I still use Teever balls. I haven't used it since I was like 1 year old or so. So it's gonna keep shooting at its weak spot. Imagine the ball is its weak spot, because what else would be its weak spot, right? Let's pick up as many power-ups as possible, pick up as many nukes as possible, keep nuking the screen, and collect all these medals. But of course, if you're gonna keep getting killed and making those medals redundant, then you're gonna keep getting killed and having your score reset down to 0. Kind of makes it redundant. And then see, this time around he's doing something different. See, he's making those rings. He's flying around making those rings of destruction that are gonna destroy us. And keep making those medals we can pick up that we could burn our score. All the medals really do, they can just add to your score. I don't think they give you any power-ups or anything like that could help you win the game or something like that. I think we just about, we have to put another Sacagawea and if we want to keep playing the game in there. Yeah, we should just start off new. This game got us a somewhat big bonus, and yeah, it's about the highest score you'll ever see me realistically get at this game. It's the end of the game. We destroy the terrorists. There's that large bug thing in space. So yeah, so they are aliens, and I guess that answers my question then. These terrorists are aliens from space that came to Earth to fight against us and destroy us for no apparent reason. So yeah, I guess that answers my question then. And so I was going to enter my name. I am Ray Phoenix. What else would my name be? So, yes, we pretty much saved the world and destroyed these terrorists, and I think they're gone for good now. This is the third game of the trilogy, and there hasn't been anything more since this game. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.